That's all right.
Yeah, cool.
Alrighty, team. We're here today on Branchy's birthday, so happy birthday, Raz.
Thank you, Daniel. That's very nice.
Yeah, there's something on the story I posted without you knowing as well.
Yeah, I've seen that this morning. I immediately regret giving you access to the Instagram.
But today's sponsor, today's episode, we are brought to you by alltradescover.com.au, our major sponsor. If you need any insurance, you're a small business, they can insure lots of stuff. I just can't give specific examples.
Why can't you give an example, Daniel?
Well, because it's legally binding and I don't want to cease and desist like our guest has got. We are also sponsored by, ironically, another clothing company for golf, Kahuna Golf. We normally give our guest a hat, but we will not be giving our guest a hat today.
Yes. Kahuna Golf, mate. They're awesome. I've been playing a lot of golf lately. It's improving because I feel better.
Yeah, and I look good, but I don't play good. This is the new Blade hoodie, so if you want to get around it, he's a local boy, and you can use HardYarns15 for a discount code.
Yep, 15%
Do you play
off.
golf? Do you play golf?
Mini
Is that
golf.
something you'd look into, or no?
Mini
golf
golf.
doesn't like
Mini
mini
golf.
golf. Nice, that's more, yeah.
Fuck yeah. And they've got the new hoodie out, end of financial year sales, so there's even more bigger discounts. So I told him, I was like, we're going to put the 15% discount. He's like, fuck, 15% discount on top of the end of financial year. I'm not making any money. Yeah. But hit him up, hit Kahuna up, and get on board because I'm hitting like low 80s every time now since I've changed the Kahuna.
Nice, that's weight for women.
And I'm wearing new golf shoes actually today. I'm just wearing them in.
Oh, right, nice.
Yeah.
Well,
They're Nike.
Daniel
If they
Delby
want to sponsor.
Entertainment also sponsors this. I'm just saying that because we've got a comedy show in Wanneroo Live Lounge. You're on it this weekend, so get around it, and I'll be putting on a lot of shows while I'm away, so I need the support there because I'm not going to be there. So lots of quizzes, lots of comedy nights. But we are here with Gucci Smoothie, Daniel Bradshaw from Street X. Great chat today.
Yeah,
really
good.
inspiring from a worldwide brand. Not a Perth brand.
Mr. Worldwide.
Worldwide brand. What do we cover today, bro?
A bit of life, living, loving, laughing.
Live, laugh, love.
Philosophy, cultural spirit, gender.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's bloody good. I think the origin stories of any big brand is always interesting, especially when it's such a grassroots one. Love it. So I think
learning how to run a business. All the challenges. Yeah.
and taking a chance, man.
Yeah.
I think that's a big message in this one. Just fucking take a chance and go with it.
Literally, you're literally living in the present. Like you're doing shit, being there, enjoying it there, and then moving on to the next. Speaking of moving on to the next, let's move on to the episode.
Fuck yeah.
Thank you. Let's get hard.
Let's get hard.
Welcome to Hard Yarns Podcast.
I am fucking fat.
Anything Chris White says, please disregard it.
5D is actually a state of being. It's a unity consciousness.
That was Hard Yarns with me, Frankie Russo. I'm going to throw it over to your co-host.
Daniel Delby.
And Cameron Brand.
I would do this and then I'd gong.
Free in attendance for the millions listening at home. Let's get hard.
All right.
Fuck yeah.
We are here with Gucci Smoothie, Daniel Bradshaw, a.k.a. Gucci Smoothie. Let's get that nice and close.
Yeah, and I left my coffee over there. You guys start.
Yeah, sweet. So we'll kick off with, we accidentally crossed paths and we've got mutual friends, but we met properly for the first time in Broome.
Yep.
Of all places.
Yeah.
So luckily for me, Brad Shepherd was walking past while I was having a feed.
That's so random.
Yeah. Like, he knew I was up there. Reese, have you met his mate Reese Barr at all?
No.
So Reese was like, Shep's up there, hit him up. He knows you're there. And he goes, Delby. And oh, fucking, who the fuck is this, man? Could have been anybody in Broome. There's a lot of screaming and shouting in Broome.
Yeah, fuck it up.
I was like, oh, Shep. And he goes, I'm here with Daniel, and we're going out tomorrow because I was like, I want to go fishing, man, because we're hunting goanna and mud crabbing.
Yeah, the mud crab.
So you teed that up, or did he tee that up for you?
No, he teed that up. Obviously, we work with him with the footy club he's with.
Yeah.
And then I said, fuck, we only got 24 hours. What can we do? And he's like, fuck, we'll get some of the boys to take you out.
Yeah.
Sadly, we didn't catch any
Any
goanna,
goanna,
which was unfortunate. But we did take home some crabs that, I mean, I was holding it, but I didn't really fucking catch the fucking fucker.
Yeah.
So with our goanna hunting technique.
Yeah.
So
firstly, the drone footage.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fat shame Delby, but fuck, like, I was like,
You mean when I ate shit?
Yeah.
And fell over?
I was like, oh, a little solid there, Daniel.
Bro.
I'm sorry. That's really mean.
Too many mud crabs.
Fucking few mud crabs, bit of turtle up there.
Yeah. No, it was, well, we got a free feed every day at the pub. So I'm not
Free
one.
feed, what, for the last 6 months?
Yeah. But the first thing we did was the goannas. And the local boys from, it used to be the Wirrapunda Foundation, but it's Woolwich Foundation. So there was the two lads, it was Cam.
Yep.
And do you remember the other lad's name?
Oh, Cam who?
Cameron. Cameron, I think his last name was Cox.
Okay.
And one of the other lads, I've added him on Facebook, but they were like the leaders, mentors.
Yep.
And were the boys that came out all school kids?
I think they had a range of age from school to just after school.
Yeah.
And then they came out with us, absolute legends. But they were like, all right, we're going to go hunt goanna. And they just told us to look for a hole with white dirt, right? So Shep's driving us around in the full drive. They fucked off one
So
way.
is that like the white dirt's what they've dug out?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's like the fresh sand comes out.
yeah,
You can obviously differentiate.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like Bradshaw's, I'm like, fuck it, I'll copy what the boys are doing.
Yeah.
They're on the roof.
Yeah.
Mind you going about 80 kilometres an hour on off-road. And we're just like, fuck.
So I'm like, all right, I'll jump on the roof.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to spot, and we're trying to look out for the things. And
Yeah.
I'm just fucking hoping that,
Yeah.
that I'm looking for the right holes and we're looking for the right holes. And I think we found one. So like we stopped, hell pumped. We jump out. We're like, is this it? Bradshaw's like, just going, yeah, I think this is good. I'm like, yeah, I think this is good. Let's ask the experts. So the Aboriginals have these traditional hunting techniques where they just send a drone over. So some classic
Fucking hell.
traditional hunting techniques. But the boys drove over, checked it out, and then they told us, what do we have to look for?
It was like you sort of have to look for obviously the sand coming out, but when they go in, like seeing where the tunnels could go type thing.
Yeah.
Sounds a lot like sex.
Yeah.
Just trying to find the right hole.
Yeah.
Where's the tunnel go?
Oh, it's fresh.
Yeah, it's fresh.
But the problem was ours was like cemented down. So there was white
correct.
sand, but it was cemented, which means it had been there for a while. And
Okay.
then we're looking for tracks. So then we were looking in like termite mounds, all sorts of shit. By the end of the sort of, it was about 2 hours.
Yeah, correct. We were very unsuccessful.
Yeah.
So you didn't get any?
We found one promising hole.
Yeah, we thought we were close, and then
Yeah.
we dug the whole we didn't dig it up.
Yeah.
We watched the boys dig it up, show us how it's done.
Yeah.
And then eventually they were just like, nah.
Yeah. So we went to mud crab because we were basically waiting for the tide to go down. Hey.
Yeah.
And
Oh, the
then-
mud crabs are fucking epic.
Yeah.
Up there. That's so
And
good.
they were a lot easier. We've seen heaps
Yeah.
of them, mate.
Yeah.
So-
We went mud grabbing at when I went up, did a similar thing with the Claremont lads. We went and did it Dampier Peninsula, I think up that way, somewhere around there. Fuck, it's just epic. Got a big bunch of mud crabs. Made our own fire, cooked them on the fire, fucking ate them up that night.
Yeah.
A few frothies, woke
Yeah.
up with a headache. It was good.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Who spotted the first one? You or Shep?
Nah, definitely not me.
No.
I was just walking around like an airhead,
Yeah.
and then the boys were like, come here. Then
Yeah.
I put my little hook in and just lost the crab. And then
Yeah, well, I think we ended up like 7 or 8. Oh, how funny. So I think it was Cam, one of the leaders, was telling us on the way back, never been bit in my whole life. Right? Never been bit once. Yeah. And I was like, oh, yeah, they're dangerous. He goes, yeah, but, I've never been bit. As we're talking, he goes, fuck. Like, what? And he'd put one of the crabs down and it grabbed him by the croc right on the toe as he was just saying he's never been bit. And he fucking launched the thing. He launched it, bro.
That's so good.
Pretty close.
How did it taste anyway? Good?
it was actually really good.
Oh,
eh?
yeah.
I've never had I've been fishing and stuff like that where you have the sashimi, but I've never had crab like that quickly where you literally walk off the beach, cooked it, and then add it straight away. It's fucking sick.
So much meat on it.
Yeah.
Fucking the best, man.
Yeah, the
So
boys
good.
told us it was a lollipop. So
Yeah.
we got the claw.
Yeah.
And fuck, man, like you were going to the airport.
Literally from there to the airport.
Like from a fire, cooking
Dangerous.
crab.
Yeah, fuck.
Like we've been in the water, like everything all day, and straight to. Did you have a shower at the airport?
2 minute shower at Brad's house. He's right next to the airport. It was literally so it was 24 hours. So like everything was like there was no free space.
Fuck.
So he pushed it as late as we could, and then you had to show straight away. So it was like he had the show, my flight was the same time. So we had to
get straight.
Yeah.
Sounds hectic.
I just saw there were showers at the airport when I left, so
wow.
that could have saved some time. So
Yeah,
if you're ever in Broome, there are showers at the airport, and nice ones.
Would you call that an airport though?
Well, yeah, there's shit.
It's a fucking it's a carousel. Yeah.
But yeah, so you were up there because you're sponsoring Shep's footy team.
Yeah. So he hit us up. It'll be about a year ago now. We get hit up all the time for stuff.
Yeah.
But I was sort of like, oh, this fuck actually makes a bit of sense. We've worked unofficially ripping off the AFL for many years, and then now officially for I think almost 2 years. So I was like, fuck, it does very, very big numbers. So I was like, fuck, it'll be cool to actually do something footy related. Like I know a bunch of the waffle teams have hit us up before, but it just seems like so expected.
Mate, so I know I was running marketing for West Perth Footy Club, and they tried to do a West Perth Claremont crossover, like where they go, hit up Street X, let's make a collaboration and sell that. And in my head, I was like, is anyone really going to buy that?
No,
like,
it's just so
like
expected.
50 and 60-year-olds follow the waffle. Like, and I know I love the waffle. I've fucking played in the waffle, but
So
I'm
you
not
think
sure
it
that's
was
going to work.
a bit too cliche for you?
No, because we've done AFL, so it's like you've done AFL. Like the waffle would have to work. Like everything would have to have some sort of meaning. There'd need to be some form of activation or tie to a specific player or some sort of story to tell. And then when Brad came with this idea, I was like, fuck, that's way better.
Yeah.
It's such a sick, untouched community that I obviously have no connection to, so I wouldn't do it myself. And it's such a cool sort of story to tell, especially about that club where it's the Peninsula Bombers. So some of those players travel 2 or 3 hours just to play. And the club was near pretty much death. That last season, Brad was saying, obviously, massive debt, minimal players. The club's not doing well at all. And then Brad's got together a few lads and obviously helped rebuild it with the families involved. Got a few sponsors. And then for us, I mean, the social media thing is easy. So it was cool going up there. And my thing, I was like, fuck, if we can go there and hang out with the lads, it actually makes it more...
Wicked, eh?
More of an actual collaborative thing. And they were just seeing how stoked they were, because we always have weird social media video ideas.
I just seen you scoring a goal in your undies. That's a pretty good. It was a pretty good kick, man.
Not too bad.
But it's like sometimes some people are going to be like, what the fuck is this freak fucking talking about? But then when I was there, like the second I told them the idea, like we hadn't told them anything. I literally just went there. I was like, how's it going, boys? This is what I want to do. And they were like, oh, sick. And then it did really well. Got a lot of views and then sold some extra teas, which will obviously give them the cash. So that was easy. Literally 24 hours to get it done.
Mate, and some of those communities up there, having gone up there and done it, I played a game with Kepler Bradley from Freo and Essendon for Bidgidanga Bombers. I think they're Bombers as well. Anyway, Bidgidanga, and those communities, man, all they got is footy. That's like all they've got. Like that's their fucking drive. And mate, they go down to training, and we went to one of the remote communities where you got to drive like 4 hours out in the middle of nowhere, and they take footy to the community. But the football ground is literally dirt, and the only reason it's dirt is they've gone around and they've stamped on the long grass in one specific area to make that their footy oval, and then the whole community comes out and watches footy training. It's like a part of their fucking thing. So footy's so important.
Correct.
So to get behind something like that,
that's what for us. That's what again. There is more of a cool story. He's a waffle team that's the same as
every other waffle team.
100%.
Shep's turned them around from no wins to I think they lost their first 2. Now they've won 6 on the trot. Same players.
What's he got up there for? Just for that?
I think he went up.
He was
initially for selling some cars.
Yeah, for work. And then he's obviously just found an outlet there where he was like, fuck this, I can actually make a difference. Again, it's the cliche, like an AFL player, especially in Australia, and Western Australia especially, is like a big fucking thing. So it's sick that he's actually making an effort there. So I know for a lot of those players, even just being involved with him would be a massive thing for them.
I was talking to some of the boys because they came and watched, just by chance. They were there for Who's Run, but there was a wet T-shirt comp on at the same time.
The Rowie. The Roebuck. I heard of that place.
So, I think one of the girls got robbed that night. Did you see it? No. Allegedly? One of the girls got robbed. But she should have won, and they gave it to someone else. But I was talking to the boys there, and they said that the biggest difference was, because I go, have you got new players? They go, no, not really. And I go, what's the difference? They're like, we're fit. So they've actually trained and
100%.
they're fit. And they're like, and we've got a bit of a plan now.
Well, keeping them motivated as well is
Yeah.
pretty difficult, and that was one of the challenges they have up there as well. Is these gun players can just bugger off. You know, they go and do their, they turn into the man. I can't remember what that process is called.
It's going literally.
Law or something.
Yeah.
Law is what they live by, but that sort of stuff. And
can't
they
remember
they
the
just
process,
bugger off.
yeah.
They're gone for months
bit.
and stuff like that. So and then if a family member dies, sometimes they have their grieving thing where they're gone for a while. And
Yeah,
there's
well,
a whole lot
Shep
of
made a
things they
good
have to
point
deal
that
with.
there's no real elite talent pathway. So he was looking at trying to get something up there. They have to leave there. And just by chance in today's paper, which is full of lies as well today, but they were saying that they're focusing on creating a talent pathway so the boys don't have to leave. So something up there so they don't have to come to Perth.
Because Claremont Footy Club is their district, so that's where they draft from. So that's why the Claremont Footy Club goes up there every year for a little 2-week or a little week visit. Kep goes up there and just sits at the tab and punts and has bits. Now he goes out to the schools. They do the talent pathways, but they have to come down to Perth if they want to play in a higher grade. So that would be really good.
Well, today's paper we'll talk about it without Bradshaw because I want to hear his story. But talking about Tucker Carlson on Monday.
Oh, yeah,
bro,
fuck.
The fucking shit they've written is the biggest crock. It was Kate Emery, that fucking idiot.
Oh, of course.
And Ben Harvey, who I don't mind his articles.
I can't wait to put up our Vox Pop.
They said it's all pseudoscience and like they were bonkers, the speakers. It's like they're fucking... Anyway, so moving on. I want to hear your story, bro. Like I'm fucking pumped because as a person from Perth to be so successful the way you are... And we had this business coach on called Jessica Williamson who was super interesting. As far as I can tell, you're a bloke. It's 2024.
How fucking dare you, Daniel?
2024, you're a bloke in the fashion industry. So my first question is how and why and where have you grown up and how did Street X start?
I mean, I wouldn't call it the fashion industry. The way I look at Street X is the most basic sort of way to sort of describe or define it is pretty much we use the brand as like a platform to give people or customers or anyone who wants to be involved with sort of the platform and the ability to be the best possible versions of themselves. So like that doesn't apply to fucking this t-shirt, man. And I suppose even for me on a personal level outside of the business, if you look at my social media, I'm obviously quite personable. I like fucking talking, as I'm sure you can tell. I'm definitely not the typical fashion influencer or anything like that. I don't post my outfit pics or anything like that. That's just never what the brand has been, and I'd imagine never will be. Like we always do tongue-in-cheek takes on a lot of that sort of stuff. But the brand was never really built as a fashion or designing. Like I've got no design skills, no design qualifications, no fashion qualifications at all. You don't need any of that, especially in the modern day fucking world with phones. Like you've got a phone, you can literally just draw on it and say, can someone make this for me?
No shit.
So I started originally as the whole idea is like I always wanted to have a brand, but I was like, why the fuck would anyone buy anything from me? Like I'm just a kid. I've got no cool story. I'm not like all the like rappers and musicians and storytellers. They've generally got such a cool story. Wow, they can really buy into that. Their lyrics mean so much to us. I had nothing.
That's funny that you mentioned that because you were just talking before. It's about what story can I tell?
Yeah, correct.
So you've sort of used that as an inspiration.
Yeah, because I had no story. Like my parents have a sick story. Like they came from South Africa with nothing here when my dad was 30 and my brother was 2. So they came from South Africa. And the only reason they got citizenship originally is because my mum was a hairdresser and there was a shortage in hairdressers.
Really?
Yeah. So that's how they originally how they got visas. Yeah.
Hairdressers.
At that time.
What can you do? I'm an electrician. What about you? I cut hair real good. Come on in.
That's literally they came, and then obviously my dad especially was very successful, and they built an amazing life together for me and my brother.
Yeah.
So
what suburb did you grow up?
Originally Ocean Reef when they first came.
Fuck.
But then kept going north. Ocean Reef, Hillary's, Marmion, and then now I'm up further towards the city.
Yeah, nice.
But that's the whole cool thing that if they had done a fucking streetwear brand or some sort of brand, that would have been a sick story because you're going to this foreign place with nothing, not knowing anyone.
Yep.
That's a sick story to tell.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, it's like, My parents did well and built a great life.
Clarence has got real good parents. He's a real good
and even when I was young, I struggled with that because I was like, people were like, oh, you just fucking got given everything. And I was like, well, my parents built an amazing life for us and they worked extremely hard. Like my dad would be gone when we pretty much woke up from school and we'd only get home at 7 p.m.-ish, so working long hours. And then that got to, I was like, fuck, what is my, like, what can I say? Like, I'm not, I don't come from a tough life or anything like that. So originally when we started, it was like, okay, cool, I don't know how to do a fucking brand. The only idea I had for a brand was to call it DMB, which was my initials at the time. DMB? Obviously there was, when I was young, SMP, I think you guys was obviously sick. And I was like, fuck, I could just put my initials in there.
Mine wouldn't work. It's DAD. Dad.
Yeah. Well, thank God. thank God I didn't fucking do that. So I was like, the next thing I could probably do, if I don't know how to create a brand and I've got nothing I can sort of tell story-wise, I'll create a store. One, because I want to get some fucking cool clothes for myself that no one's got. And then two, then maybe that can sort of help speak to a customer maybe that also likes the shit. Because when I was a kid and at university, like I think there was Highs and Lows was probably the only store here. Like I would go there and be like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool, but I can just buy better stuff online that they don't have. So no one would have it.
And is this about 8 years ago when you started?
No.
Or is it well before
13 years.
Right.
So it will be, the business will be 13 years the end of this year.
Yep.
But this was before that. This was before, like when I was at university.
What was your degree? Were you studying marketing?
Just commerce. Just commerce. Yeah. Like, I mean, as every fucking person in West Australia does, they don't know what they're going to do. And they get
I did business commerce.
Literally every man alive or woman, you get a average TER, and it's like, oh yeah, fucking commerce, bros.
Was that Curtin?
Nah, you'd be like,
no. Oh yeah, it's nice. Higher commerce.
But even that's the thing is like, I was like, okay, cool. I don't know how to do a brand. Maybe I'll start a store and then curate a list of brands that I sort of like. That are pretty cool.
Yeah, nice.
And then what I did is obviously contact a number of different brands from all around the world, brands I liked that you couldn't get in Australia. My whole big idea was I'm going to create this big online store that is going to change the market. I was buying shit online, like, fuck, it's way cooler getting shit that no one else has.
And this is before it was really mainstream to do that?
Before, like, obviously Facebook had just come in, MySpace was ending, Instagram wasn't a thing. And again, just so naive, I was like, I'll just create an online store and that will be it. And then just knew nothing about how online worked. So we started the online store. Originally it was all stock exchange theme because I was at university and like that was the whole thing, is it's gonna be like a stock trading inspired website. So that's where the name Street X came from.
Right, like StockX, Street X.
Well, StockX wasn't even a thing. It was originally called, it was gonna be called the Street Exchange.
That's kind of cool.
An exchange where obviously you can buy stuff from a market where you can't get it anywhere else. That was the initial concept.
That's fucking pretty cool, man.
But I never wanted multiple words in the name, so I wanted a simplified name. So at the time, there was a new stock exchange coming to Australasia called Chi-X. So obviously subbed the words in there, and that's where Street X came from. And that was the whole original thesis, was it was going to be this stock exchange thing where it was like a point of, obviously, you've got the base level transactions, a street transaction, a hand-to-hand transaction, and then, of course, then stuff online.
That's cool. That's pretty fucking cool.
That was
fucking hard. I like that. That's good.
That failed miserably.
Well, now it's called Street Twitter.
We literally, so we launched the online store, and again, you did a couple of orders, but literally...
How did it fail? What do you think?
It didn't fail. Well, I'm still here, so it didn't fail.
But like, what was wrong? Like, was it marketing or was it like...
I just had no idea about how the internet worked. Like, I obviously had someone develop a website and build a template and make the website and whatnot. But like, I didn't know anything about processing, packing orders, how to do SEO at that time or anything like that. I had no clue. I just thought, I did a marketing. Hadn't even finished my degree. I was like, I don't know how to do marketing. And then that transitioned to, I was like, when we launch it, let's do a party. Instead of a party, we did a pop-up store at my mate's gallery in Freo. Cool. And like, I'd never really fucking went to Freo. My mate had a gallery and he was like, you can do it here for free. And I was like, is there people there? And I was like, all right, let's do it then.
Perfect.
And then, fast forward about a year and a half, we'd done a few of these little pop-up stores there. And then I met a young girl who'd been like, I work in Northbridge and they've got pop-up stores there. And I was just like, well, was that busier than Freo? She worked there also. And she was like, yeah, it is. And I was like, fuck. So I just contacted the person with the pop-up stores in Northbridge. And they had one available. So I went there for 6 months. And that's where we actually started selling a few things. Like I remember sometimes in Freo, like we would do $60 a week in sales.
Wow.
And I was living at home, thankfully, at the time, so it was great. So I would just be driving to and from there, just going, fuck, this is cool, eh? $60.
Yeah. Yeah.
Were you enjoying it still, or were you just like...
Yeah, because you just started it.
Yeah.
Like I'd taken out a loan to start it, so I was like, fuck, this is pretty cool what I'm doing. And then, I sort of realised, I think it was probably about a year and a half, 2 years in, done these pop-ups, we'd done the Northbridge pop-ups. And then
did you order all cool clothes in that you liked?
Yeah,
and then would
correct.
you have a demo or just sell straight to street? Or if they wanted it, you could direct them to the website?
Yeah, so obviously we'd have stuff on the website, but the website was literally stock in my room.
Yeah.
Like that was the website.
Yeah, okay,
so either the stock would be in my room or at this pop-up shop.
Yeah.
So again...
And were you competing with Skunkware and Data and shit
Mate, we were
back then?
competing with no one because we weren't really making any money. So I wouldn't say we were competing with anyone.
Yeah, okay.
But then even like the logo, for example, it's just a word.
Yeah, so this logo was only incorporated probably about 5 years ago or 4 years ago. Like this was we never really used the word StreetX. We had an STX box logo, which we've got probably 3 main logo marks and assets we use now. The StreetX word mark, which is that one.
Yeah.
We've got an X logo, which is from the start pretty much, or probably from a few years in, and then obviously the box logo, which is also from back then. But originally it was a stamp, and it was themed on like legal documents when you get that red stamp on. That's what.
Mate, that's exactly what this podcast was as well. Like it was the
We had the stamp.
Yeah, it had the stamp. Yeah,
that's what our original logo
Nice.
was themed on. So we had a red, like it was like a stamp symbol thing. So we used that.
Cool.
And then the original slogan for our first or second day was "Fuck the market," because obviously linking to the theme of the website, and then also. Being a young kid, you're like, fuck all these old dudes doing this stuff.
It's like the anti-establishment
Yeah,
style
very
sort of
much,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And is this all like just you or you and a team?
No, just me.
Yeah,
I mean, I
just
had
love
no
it.
money. I didn't have a team.
Yeah.
Cool. So after your pop-up store in Northbridge?
Yeah, so that was the pop-up store came to an end. So we were there for 6 months, and then it got to the point where I was like, fuck, we make zero money online.
Yeah.
We make a little bit of money in store. The only way this really continues is if we get a store.
Yeah.
So there was a store that was closing down in Northbridge, which I'd just seen on Facebook. And again, at that age, you just think, fuck, these all fucking losers. All these other stores suck. Like, I'll beat them all. So you're looking at these other stores. Like, mind you, we're making zero money at the time.
Yeah.
But you're being that age, you just think, fuck, these guys suck.
Yeah, it's so good naivety because you just have no fear.
You take more risks.
Yeah.
So it's the best thing ever. And then having no partners or anything like that, I could just go move so quickly.
Yeah.
So this store was closing, and I was like, sucked in. I'll just fucking. That was my attitude.
Sorry,
then.
cunt.
Yeah. So I just found obviously the location, contacted the landlord of that, and I was like, hey, I saw this is closing, and they were like, oh, how'd you know? And I was like, I've seen it on Facebook.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you can come look at the premises. The other store was still had their stuff in there, but the landlord took me and showed it, and I was like, yeah, I'll do it. Had no idea about leases. Like all of the other pop-ups had been like. Handshake sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I went into the landlord's office. It was like a 60-page lease, and I was like,
God.
obviously not reading that. Signed for 5 years.
5 years.
What? Like we signed 2 years for this, and we were like, "Whoa, that's a long commitment, man."
Signed a 5-year lease with a 2-year option because I was like, I had taken out money, and I would have been 21 or 22, and I was like, well, obviously I have to pay that money back. And I've made the commitment, like this is my life now.
Wow.
So I was like, yep, cool, do
Fuck,
that.
I love that though.
Yeah.
That's good.
And then that was, I mean, that 5 years is where things sort of started to improve a little bit. We obviously kept selling all these other brands, but we started selling a little bit more of our own stuff.
Yeah.
And then if I fast forward 5 years to get to 6.5 years, our own stuff is selling pretty well. And we're at the point where it was probably about 70% our own stuff, 30% of these other brands, and these other brands from all around the world. So I traveled a lot and met with these brands. We've done a lot of collaborative stuff. And now we'd started getting a little bit of presence on socials and whatnot. But it got to the point where, again, this lease was now finally coming to an end at that store. And I was like, now I'm a little bit smarter.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have to renegotiate this lease. So I was like, the whole emphasis has always been so much on the store and not online since we started. So if it's 5 years or 6.5 years, whatever it was, everything was just in store, and I was like, no, we don't need online. We can make all the money in here. So I started putting a focus for the last year and a half of that lease on online and pushing everything towards that and making that the focus as opposed to the store.
Was that with a strategy to reach more people?
No, purely to give us the power in the negotiation against the landlord.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because I was like,
we don't need this place anymore. We're going to go
online. It's not like,
yeah,
I can sell more to more people. It's like, fuck this one guy.
That is fucking genius, though. That's so good.
Of course, that's part of it. But I was like, cool. The whole idea is to be able to function, so we don't need to rely on anyone. So we don't need to rely on this store. So then it came to the negotiations with that landlord, and they were just sort of like, oh, we'll do the same price, but we're not decreasing. And I was like, man, Northbridge fucking sucks, bro. There's that many empty stores. I think we're overpaying. This is what I want to pay. And he just said, no. And I was like, all right, cool. I've already got another store. See you later. So I went into that new store again, negotiated a great deal with that.
Did you read the contract this time?
I did, yeah. So this is where I had one of my friends who works in commercial leasing. A guy who's an ex-lawyer helped me out. They helped heaps with that. And this is where they helped and they got the deal way better than I would have got. And then we obviously got a great deal there. And then we've been there for 5 years and we're just negotiating an extension there now. So that's done really well. But again, online is where our main business is. But that was like the early days where I had no fucking clue. Like I still don't have much of a fucking clue.
It's working.
Yeah, but that's where that's the original sort of phases how it started, and it was probably only about 8 years in when we actually started making any real money. And it's been up to probably the last 4 years has been, or 4 to 5 years has been where it's really good, and then obviously the money is great. We've got a great team.
Even to book you in, you've got someone that does that, like the scheduling. That's awesome.
That's just a VA. Like that's so easy. I am like a fucking goldfish. That's why I just hate meetings because I forget everything. I'm like, as long as if I've got it in writing, and I don't have to
go
think
back
about
and check it.
In terms of the scheduling. And I do everything I can to avoid doing things or doing meetings. So I just like everything I get sent to Brian, our VA, and then that all just gets put in a calendar. And
is Brian a guy here? Or is it a Philippines guy called Brian? That's his actual name, you reckon?
Well, no way.
Is that who we communicated with? Oh my God, that's so good.
But he's like, in terms of the VA, it just makes things easier. I just forget everything, and I'm always trying to think about, obviously, what I'm good at, which is, I'd say, probably marketing and then
relationships.
And then I've brought on a great number of brand partnerships, and that's what I sort of need to be focusing on: brand partnerships, marketing, and then overall sort of somewhat product direction and where the brand business is going.
Who suggested that? Was that your own idea, or had you?
No, I mean just speaking,
mentors?
Always just listening to different people and people throwing ideas out. Some people have always been like, oh, you're not organised enough, you're not this enough, you're not that.
Obviously, it's so important, listening to feedback.
It's just taking...
It's hard to hear as well sometimes. You're like, fuck, I'm not doing something right.
No, but that's part of getting better, I suppose.
I like how it's almost that like cut the cords or, cut the cords of the parachute, so you've got nowhere else to go.
Plan B is plan A.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you've gone, right, 5 years, I have to make this work. And I feel like sometimes when you have to make it work, this is my living, I'm going to survive on this. You do everything you can to make it work.
But even now, it's like that. Like we've had quite a lot of staff over the years. We've had quite a lot of ups, quite a lot of downs. But even for me, it's like there is no other option. So I have to do this. And again, that's been to my detriment sometimes, where I'm an absolute cunt to work with. But then again, it's been great that I can learn learn what I've got as my shortcomings and try at least improve on them. Because that's the hardest thing, is like I've been doing this for so long now. I'd like to think I'd have a better understanding of, like, even some things I do, I still feel like it's my first day. Which is good and bad. Like I obviously wish I was further along than I was, but it's so hard you can't cut any corners. Like for me, it's like you see the number in your account and it's just like, cool, I'm going to risk on this, and I'm just going to mitigate risk. I know these 3 projects are going to be more effective than these 3. Cool, I'm going to go with those 3. Oh, I could be completely fucking wrong.
It's also enjoying that process as well, isn't it? Like you just said, you want to be further, but you're right here at the moment, which is pretty fucking cool. So enjoying that process as well.
But I think the best thing about, like, that's what I've loved so much about traveling. Like even here, it's cool. Like we do so well. Like we do these great events and there's people there. There's people asking for photos and all that sort of stuff. But when I travel, it's so great because it's like, oh, you're no one.
Yeah.
Like I've got such a great network of athletes, musicians, entrepreneurs, or famous people, whoever you want to be, whatever that is. cool, I'm irrelevant on that scale.
Yeah.
So it's so sick being able to, you go to travel and you say, oh, yep, it's a good reminder of where I'm at and where I need to go. Like from the number we're at, we need a 10 times that to get to
10x it.
Yeah, to get where I want to be. And then you see, even like that's why I like doing jiu-jitsu, because I think I'm the milking man, and then I go in there and just get the shit beaten out of me by a 70 kilo small fucking man.
It's so depressing, hey, when somebody could put their dick in you and there's nothing you can do.
Literally.
You're like, oh, I'm yours.
You've been going to a bit, you obviously go to the UFC and Eternal quite a lot. I see you with Whitey and the lads a fair bit. Is that something you try? Like, obviously, you do the stuff with Jack Della. Is that something you're trying to...
Yeah, that's
get
a
into?
big, like that's a big market we've really pushed into for the last probably 2 years, like more the sports angle. The brand's always been so deeply rooted in sports within the DNA, if it's football or soccer, AFL, whatever you want to call it. We've always referenced sporting stuff because that's what the brand was pretty much built on. It's like one of the main pillars of the brand. And then I always used to compete in martial arts and fighting when I was young, so I've always been around that sport.
Sick.
And so we've always looked at an avenue of how could we go down that path.
Yeah.
But everything for us is always making sense of the. I mean, it's got to make sense. It's got to be authentic.
Yeah.
And then in terms of fight stuff, it's such a taboo industry because it's always been so shit.
Yeah.
It still is really shit. So that's why for us, there's a great gap in the market where we can bridge our, obviously the lifestyle product we do to the more sports styled stuff.
Yeah.
So we work with Della.
It's good that he's just a fucking good bloke and down to earth as well. You know, it fits you guys.
And the biggest thing you need to have like any of the brand synergies you have. So we're with a guy, obviously Jack Della Madonna, and then Craig Jones is a...
Yeah, what the fuck? Wearing that on... He wore that one on with Chris Williamson's podcast.
Correct,
well, what the... I was like... What the fuck? That's a big market, man.
These things need to make sense. Like, they need to be authentic. Like, a big thing with the brand is always being authentic. So it needs to make sense. And Craig is just like me. He's a fucking freak.
Fuck, mate. What was he doing at Donbass the other day? Like, what the fuck is he doing, man?
He's just a lunatic. So it's cool. It's like you've got to align and work. Again, it's like a business. You want to work with people who are like-minded, who exist in a similar world. So those, for example, in that sort of sports space, those two, like we're working with Craig with CGI with what he's doing, obviously CJI, sorry.
Yeah.
And then obviously with Jack when he fights, he's off for a little bit now.
Yeah, it sucks that he's just in Perth one,
but it's picking again the right brand partnerships. That's what we've been relatively good at so far.
To wind it back, I mean, it's so fucking. It sounds so easy. You're just like, we're working with UFC fighter here. We got AFL. Yeah. Who was your first big name that, or what was your point where you remember it going, oh fuck, this is like a this is where we've taken off? Was there some collab you did that was really made it pop, or was it just a gradual climb?
We've never ever had one thing that's been the turning point.
Right.
It's always just been the gradual progression. It's just constantly trying to get better.
Because that's like building the strength, like that pyramid, that strong pyramid of like an organic growth of like this is building through a reputation, not through that went well for a quick trend and now it's gone.
Yeah, it's not like those dumb ghost story podcasts.
But that's the thing. Like this podcast, perfect example. Like it's just been a slow grind instead of us. You can go on TikTok and go, right, what's the trending audio and what's this, and then just try and get it. But then you're going to lose all those people. Correct, that's a perfect example.
We've never had one product or we've never had one thing where it's just exploded and taken over the business. Yeah. It's always been that constant gradual progression, and our emphasis has always been focusing on what we do sort of internally and what we focus on. So like if we keep doing good product and keep doing good marketing and putting these things and blending them together well, externally people are going to look in and be like, wow, I want to work with that brand. I want to work with this person.
So just staying authentic really is
correct.
That's the goal.
Of course we've gone off track over the year. Like there's always going to be things you do and you look back in hindsight, fuck, that was wrong. That's not part of the brand. But it's trying to really minimize that as we go forward and make sure this path, instead of being a crazy up and down, gets a little bit straighter, and that's what we really hone in. More so the guys who I've got on board in part of the team is what they try to do is really keep me in line because I want to do fucking this, that.
I feel that.
I want to do it all.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
So it's having the guys...
Just like him.
Yeah.
He's like that.
I feel that, bro.
It's having guys around who can be like, that doesn't make sense.
I'm not quite that bad for Delby because Delby's a pretty good ideas, but like I got Delby and I got Wolfie with the comedy room, and they're fucking both like coming up with 15 ideas, and I'm like, for the comedy room, I'm like, Wolfie, let's just get a spotlight, man. Let's just do the fucking first thing right. Like,
have you seen Wolfie do stand-up yet? Have you seen much Perth comedy?
No, I know one of my friends, Blake Richardson.
Blake, yeah.
You would have met him through fighting then.
Yes,
because he MC's Eternal.
Yes, correct. I know him well. That's my extent of knowledge.
Get around it.
Oh, he's been doing he's done a few ads for you as well.
Yes,
acted in them. Yeah, sick.
Actors are just better at everything. That's we can actually act as always.
Well, as a videographer, like I knew when I was working with like a comedian or an actor who knew sort of how to convey emotions,
so much easier,
and deliver things with like a bit more. Like when you film something,
you have to hype it up.
You have to hype it up, and then it comes once you put it through and you put a bit of backing audio and stuff. Everything seems to like dull down a little bit. So I'll always tell Delby like, talk a lot more with a bit more energy, and it comes down. And
more energy, energy.
But the actors like Blake and stuff, they know this is what you got to do, and it's like one take. Oh, done, sweet,
so
next, let's go. It's the best.
Do you remember that was what I was going to ask you? You said before you were unofficially doing AFL stuff.
Yep.
What was is there legalities with using?
Yeah.
Did you get pulled up?
Yeah, we got a couple of cease and desists. I just ignored them.
And nothing came of it?
No, so what ended up happening? The whole idea, that was my whole idea. I was like, I just want to piss them off enough so I can get a conversation. So I can get my foot in the door. And that's how it works. So I think it was about 4 or 5 years we just kept ripping off logos and nothing happened. We got, I think, 2 or 3 cease and desists. One of them looked pretty real, so I was like, fuck, maybe we should probably relax for a little bit. And then eventually I got a message we met with one of the clubs to work about how we could do something officially, and then there was obviously a lot of licensing red tape and all this sort of stuff, so that sort of went nowhere. But basically we just showed them the numbers of the stuff we'd done, and they were instantly like, yeah, let's do it.
Wow.
And I was like,
money talks, eh?
It's simple as like
reach.
They're like, oh, look at this little kid with his little t-shirts.
100%.
Yeah. And you just show them. I was like, oh, here's a little document that makes us look cool.
It's hard, isn't it? Like at the start when you're no one and you reach out to these people for a collaboration, and they're like,
and it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah,
why would they bother?
It is what it is. Like,
but that links back to what we just discussed. Like we get people to reach out to us all the time.
That's great.
There's a lot of things I want to reach out to do, but it's like, why? Why would they bother?
Yeah.
You need to focus on getting yourself to a level where people want to work with you, and your product is at a level where if you do work with that person, you can do it justice.
Yeah.
Because there's no point for us, like, oh, cool, I want to work with Nike.
Yeah.
Of course, everyone does.
Yeah.
But it's like you need to get to, okay, cool, if you do this thing, is it going to work? Like the biggest one we've done in terms of footwear is Crocs, who are massive.
Yeah.
And the first one went insane, and we've got our second one coming out in January. But everything you need to do, like you need to have a body of work or a portfolio, or if you're an athlete, a record to show, hey, this is what I can actually do. Everyone just wants, especially now with the way TikTok and Instagram is, everyone wants to go, oh, this is, I can do that.
Yeah.
And I've had that with staff. I've had it with myself, where I think I can do that, and then you do it, and it's like, fuck, maybe I can't.
Yeah.
What's a conversation like that look like? Well, Crocs, I don't even know who Croc is. They have a rep, reach out, Instagram or email or through friends, or
it's all through traveling. You meet someone who knows someone.
Yeah, it's always the case. Hey?
Oh yeah, and again, once you meet someone, and again you're confident within yourself and you're authentic, and that translates through the brand, it's going to work.
And how do you design your I've got so many questions for you, man. I'm worried of your time, but how do you design something? Like you say, all right, we're with Crocs. Do you just draw it and someone on your team goes, this is what we want? Or
I mean, that's the thing is, so on face value, everything you see with Street X or my brand personally, which is, I don't even know if you call that a brand, but just my personal Instagram page in terms of marketing, content, everyone just goes, fuck, Daniel's so fucking creative. Daniel's this. Man, a lot of it's not me at all. Like, like I'll just have like a weird idea and send the world's worst drawing to our main designer who's a genius, and he'll go, oh, cool, this is it. And I was like, oh, this doesn't look anything like what I drew.
That's way better.
But that's way better. Let's do that.
Yeah,
that's sick.
And then in terms of a marketing side, like we've had in and out, we've got marketing team, we've had marketing internally, then we've outsourced it. Again, the same thing. I could come up with an idea and we do exactly per that idea, and it does well. But then I've had other ones where, like 2 of our recent videos, I've sent a very brief top line idea, and then they've come back with something way better. And I'm
right.
At what point did you get to like there's usually a tipping point where you go, right, I'm going to start hiring people and
Yeah.
put them in positions to.
I mean,
was that difficult to relinquish control as well?
It still is. I'm still trying to learn. I'm sure some of my staff who are listening or former staff, fuck, don't listen to a fucking word this guy says. But yeah, we got to the point where we try to do everything internally. So we had 20 staff at one stage. We were trying to run obviously all our internal warehousing. We were trying to do everything ourselves. And then it got to the point where I was like, man, like this is just too many people. Like we had two massive growth years for us as a brand. And my solution was that let's just chuck people at it.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, it's probably my only regret with the business is just rushing and going, yep, cool, people. And then me as a leader just going, oh, just do your job, bro.
Yeah.
And the extent of the training is just, oh, go, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, that's not really how,
Yeah.
like, I can't go, oh, you guys did your job. I was like, well, you didn't really fucking train me, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was just got so rushed where I was like, cool, growth, more. Cool, just people, you guys just do that.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, it's a bit hard for them to just do that when they don't really have a clear,
There's no, like, outline
they don't have a
or
real
expectation.
clear pathway. Like,
Yeah.
I know what the brand is, but because I'm fucking not ADHD, but up and down.
Yeah. Like the stock exchange.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I think the brand's this.
Yeah.
Oh, but tomorrow we're doing a fucking this style and then
Yeah.
this style.
Got
so
ya.
if you're working there and it's like, oh, what the fuck is this going on?
Yeah.
It's kind of like Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wolf of Wall Street, but nowhere near as successful. Nowhere near as money. So the biggest thing over the last 2 years, what we've really tried to do is try and hone in exactly what we are as a brand. Externally, I think everything looks amazing, but it's internally making sure the internal team and staff are as stoked about it as me and know where we're going. That's the biggest thing, which we're still trying to do.
Do you have a business like core value or core goal?
Yeah, that's what we sort of outlined about a year and a half ago now. So it's obviously we came up with 3 core values as a team. Again, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
Like I'm not that good at explaining what I like. I'll just draw an idea or write down something, and then other people, like the guys who put it together, were way better at articulating that.
Yeah. So they'll go, all right, Bradshaw likes this, and this. We'll group that together.
As well as adding in their input, which is great because that's something I get worked up where I'm like, fuck, I can't do creative for everything.
Yeah.
So it's having people who are way better.
Feel stretched.
Going, cool, let's do this, let's do that.
Yeah.
So we came up with obviously with 3 core values, which we use somewhat as a guiding principle.
Yeah.
And then again, if it comes to brand partnerships, making sure, okay, cool, if we do a collaboration with an old age home, on face level, that probably doesn't really work. That's not really our market.
Yeah.
If there was something we could tie to, then you could tell a story.
Yeah.
Everything we look at partnership, like if it's working with an athlete or working with a drinks company or
a
some
podcast.
sort, or whatever, there needs to be an alignment. There needs to be a touch point or a point of reference where if someone asks you, you can explain why.
Yeah.
Do you like plugging Perth a lot? Because I love our city, man, and I think like it's when you travel, it's great.
Yep.
But I was sick of when I was in high school and just after everyone, Perth fucking shit. I'm like, well, fuck off, then, cunt. Like, if you don't like it here, leave. But I think like what we have to offer, we're small, and in the context of a global market, it's pretty shit. Yep. But the actual city itself, we've got the best beaches, the best women, the best wine regions. Like we've got a little bit of everything. Do you try to plug Perth at all? Is that important to you, or are you more just like...
Yeah, no, of course. Like, it's always been a big part of very much the same ethos where you don't have to leave to be successful. But obviously, with saying that, you need to take into the understanding is this is where a blip on the fucking radar.
Yeah.
But again, that links back to what we just discussed. As long as you are doing good product and it all aligns in your activations and your events and your marketing, and there's a synergy within the business, and you're doing something of note, people will start taking notice.
Yeah.
But I hate people calling us a Perth brand.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to be bigger than that. We are not, we are way bigger than
Well,
that.
I was about to say, are you thinking of opening up shops in Sydney?
Yeah, for sure. Melbourne was the plan next on the agenda, but it was meant to be this year, but we're going to probably potentially do that next year.
You can do men's clothes for women and women's clothes for men in Melbourne. You'd have to be street XX.
But that's
Mate, you're open to the whole market over there.
and that's the biggest thing is it's focusing, and like we've got the ability, we're a small country, we've got the ability to change at the whim.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Like we've got the ability and the speed to move fast and beat people to market and do things the way we want. But everything we look at in terms of collaboration, like I say, for example, if we're looking at brand partnerships, we've obviously just done the thing with the AFL, which is far-reaching throughout Australia.
Yeah.
You should have reached out to Daniel Bradshaw from the Lions.
Yeah, that would be a fun one.
That's what I thought you were when someone first said Street X Daniel Bradshaw. I'm like, oh, sick.
Mate, if the Lions get fucking better and actually do something, then maybe. But that's when we look at, like, again, a partnership. So if you look at, on a partnership front, you've got the AFL core, it reaches Australia-wide. Then we go, okay, cool, how can we sort of tag that in? Like, community is such a big, that's actually one of the core values, is community first and everything front-facing as well as internally. So we looked at the AFL, cool. On a local level, we can work with Peninsula Bombers, we can sponsor them, and that gives us, again, content and access in that region, but also that gives you an audience internationally and domestically, because people are like, fuck, that's a cool initiative.
Cool story.
And then we're sponsoring a local junior footy team in a which comes out in a couple of weeks or a couple of months, I think it is.
Yeah.
And again, that's not us trying to be like, oh, let's ignite the local market. It's like, cool, this is a cool endeavor to do off the back of the AFL that hits a local
It's
community.
win-win.
Yeah. And then you look at something like Tony Gallardi and Spudshed.
Yeah, that's such a random, like, I love it though.
But again,
I love it,
that makes such a good synergy because, again, they're very anti-establishment, do things their own way, tongue-in-cheek, their marketing style works.
Yeah.
Tony's the fucking mad cunt.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that works perfectly. That hits, again, more of a WA market. And then next year, we're obviously working with, and this year, again, we're doing something like Crocs in January, which is a massive global access.
The Croc story is a funny one because the movie, there was a movie called, it's one about future of America, Idiocracy.
Okay.
So the set designer said, let's put footwear on that looks that stupid in the future. No one's ever going to wear it. And they used Crocs as the company.
Yeah.
And they were like, what if everyone's wearing this in 20 years? They were like, no, there's no way on earth.
What?
And the whole movie, they're just wearing Crocs as a stupid thing into the future, but they're that comfortable. That's what we hunted mud crab in. The lad gave me his Crocs to hunt the crabs in.
They're useful.
Yeah. They're like four-wheel drive thongs.
And that's how we try to put together, like, obviously the brand partnerships are strategic. You're not just going, oh, that's cool, let's do a collaborative thing with that. Like,
who are you proudest of working with out of all that? Like,
I mean, but they're all cool.
Everyone, obviously.
Yeah, they're all cool. Like, I mean, each their own. A big thing that I saw a problem with is celebrating the wins, is what some of the lads have said.
Right.
I'm like, once it's done, it's over. It's like, cool, on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Type thing. Like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's so many people doing bigger things.
Yeah, right.
So for us, it's like, cool, next step, like always doing more. Like, we got a thing with Fortnite, the game.
Cool.
Coming out in November, which has been delayed many, many times.
What's that going to look like? You're going to have an online skin or
Well,
something? I don't know if you can talk about it.
It's been I think 2 years in the making, and it's been an absolute nightmare.
Really?
But it's almost there. So we've got a whole collection of stuff done, and then we'll do obviously an in-person and online activation for that, which will be cool.
Yeah.
But stuff like that, that's a big, like a far global reaching collection. But everything I like sort of focusing on is what we can obviously do to propel us forward as a business and as something that sort of we can give to our community or followers or people that they want.
Yeah.
Like, we want to bring stuff, like the original idea with the online stores, bring brands people don't have.
Yeah.
We want to be able to bring collaborative things in that people don't have access to. Like, over the years, we've done stuff with Maddie Matheson, who's obviously a super famous chef now.
Yeah.
Stuff with a guy called Matt McCormick from LA, who's a real famous artist now. Like, we've done, this was early on, we did those things. Always trying to bring culture to Perth and to Australia that otherwise they don't have access to. Because a lot of people here, they don't travel.
Yeah.
People just sit on their online and see what they want to see. But if we can bring that experience, like, that goes to the whole AFL thing.
Yeah.
AFL is an amazing sport, but to me, they're 20 or 10 years behind the NBA, NFL, and all the ancillary things behind. When I think AFL, the only piece of product I would buy is an AFL jersey. But, like, you look at soccer and footballing culture and how jerseys transcend society. Or you look at LA with the Dodgers hat or the Yankees hat. Those are cultural icons. And they're referenced through 50 Cent or Jay-Z wearing them in a video. You look at any of the famous influencers, they'll be at a World Cup game or a European Cup wearing a jersey. No motherfucker is going to an AFL game or wearing an AFL jersey in public. But that's what needs to change. That's our whole idea there is, cool, how can we go into that market and creatively direct that into a different world?
Did you do the Eagles bomber jacket, was it? That looked fucking sick. Like that.
And that's, to me, is
Eagles bomber jacket. That should be a scarf.
That is like, to me, that is like the most entry level item. Like, it's such an item that's synonymous with American college culture. it's just like, it's so simple, but it did so well because that's like that AFL customer. And I think for me as a customer, like a sports fan, you want to be able to buy into something. Like I love the sort of, the footy jerseys, I've been blind drunk wearing them out as a joke.
Yeah.
Like it's tongue in cheek.
100%.
Like you're not going to dinner wearing a
Eagles jersey.
Mate, I think the last time
you might have a bender with the number 9 on the back.
But that's you're doing that as a tongue in cheek. Yeah. Like that's why I've worn jerseys.
I think the last
after the
time
AFL Grand Final, I couldn't get in Melbourne. I had the Eagles jersey on. They wouldn't let me in. Because any clubs.
Really?
No, I was high. Just because I was in a jersey.
That's the last time I've worn one. Is Eagles were in the grand final. So I was like, all right, I'll get behind them today. Yeah. I'll wear it.
Because I'm like, I feel like you. I'm like, no one fucking wears that.
There's so much opportunity there. Like there's so much opportunity for the AFL to do more.
Fucking earth, yeah.
And that's why I was like, cool, if we can help do it ourselves and curate that market and creatively direct it where we want it to go, that's where I see it.
And that's like in Waffle, that's your rite of passage. That's when you play a league game of football, you get a league, you get a bomber jacket, and that's your little sort of gift that you get. And so, if you could get cool versions of them, it'd be like, and because they're pretty good, but they're very old school. They're like heritage style. That would be a
come with mothballs.
Sort of.
Still wary of your time. Man, I could listen to you talk all day, bro. I've got first question before I move on to some celebrity stuff. Have you been starstruck by anybody that you've worked with where you've gone, oh man, this is cool, I'm going to celebrate this one win? Is there someone you've gone, I can't believe we've got this? Or is it just you've worked yourself to a point where it's expected now?
I mean, I celebrate every single thing. Like I get so excited just about going, like when our samples come in, I just get so, like everything I'm wearing now doesn't come out till July, and because that's what I get excited for. I'm like, fuck, the new box of stuff's coming in. Yeah. So stoked about that.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the celebrity thing, it's just like sort of dehumanized now, where it's just like, it's the same sort of shit. Whatever.
Well, if you need to hook up with Usain Bolt or Kelly Slater, he's been liking our posts. So
he's like, we did them 10 years ago.
We'll hook you up, man.
But it's like at the end of the day, it's like they're just people.
Yeah.
And it's like they're doing something in their world that they're just on a different trajectory. Like when I started traveling from a young age, like I was so daunted by meeting these people with these brands. Like I thought these brands were so big, and it was literally just like me in LA.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of them are. Like a lot of them now that I deal with, again, some of them are massive.
Yeah.
And it's sick because it's just like one of my friends in LA is extremely rich and just has a t-shirt brand.
Yeah.
So fucking cool to see. Wow. Be like, cool, that's what's possible.
Those
guys, like, cool, they've done it. They've shown you it's possible. It means I can do that too.
Yeah.
Well, the
blueprint for a success in a lot of fields is there.
Yeah.
Just go look at what they've done. Yeah. You can copy it and do better. Like that's.
I mean, that's the thing is you can never just follow someone, but again, the fact that they've done it in that world shows it's doable. It's possible. So cool, I can do it my own way. And get there, and that's the biggest thing, especially in the fashion fucking lame world.
Yeah.
Everything is a reflection of something else. Like nothing is different.
Yeah.
And that's why for us, what's been so good is our marketing and brand is so polarizing. A lot of people hate it, but then the people who love it. Yeah. Like I don't imagine with comedy and podcasts,
like a cult thing.
Yeah, you guys can get the same. You get people like, that guy fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But then the people who do like you are really gonna follow and want to be a part of things.
Get that niche market and that real authentic following.
Yeah. And that's why even for our stuff, that's why I'd never try and overthink things. I'm like, cool, let's do it. Let's go. Let's post that.
Yeah.
Let's try that. Let's do this.
I like that. That's good though.
You've got to be. As soon as you start, I know in the past, but as soon as I've started to overthink things or stutter on a decision, comes out bad.
Yeah.
As soon as I'm fast and quick and go, it always
just
works.
follow your gut almost.
Yeah.
Do you still wear other people's brands?
Never.
So always
never.
you.
Literally always hit to my own stuff.
All right.
Again, I love. I don't wear other brands, but I love watching other brands just to see, again, like we just discussed, see how they have molded. Like there's so many brands I follow and look at that I would never buy, but I respect the way they conduct, obviously, their business and their marketing and how they transcend through.
It's so funny. You've gone from like knowing fuck all, like you're pretty clued up now.
Yeah.
Like
you got to
just
be.
by
I suppose
living it.
Yeah, like that. That's what I found the best experience is. I mean, the best way to sort of go forward is through experience and just doing things like jump on a plane tomorrow.
Yeah.
Go try that thing. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not going to work, bro. Like the amount of times, again, where I've rightly been told it's not going to work and it's great advice.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to give you advice.
Yeah.
Everyone, again, they could be great at what they do. They could be fucking average. They could have never done it. They could have done it. They're going to give you advice. That advice might be wrong. It might not be. You've got to try it.
That's exactly what's been happening with my comedy, for example.
Yeah.
And it's good to take advice from people who've been there before, but sometimes you just got to try yourself, figure it out, and then it'll become you.
Because that's the thing is, a lot of people have done it before, but they've done it their way.
Yeah.
They've never done it your way.
Yeah.
And again,
Frank Sinatra especially.
yeah, it's hard because again, you want to obviously bring people on. You want to have the team and sort of take on their advice. Not everything you can listen to other people. Sometimes you just got to go, cool. I think this is gonna work. I'm gonna try it. You got to have the balls to do it.
Did you wait before you built that team, hired that first person? Did you wait until you had enough money coming in to be able to pay someone, or were you not earning enough?
No, even
like that.
Yeah, even all the stuff. I've never really been one for budgets or anything which I've started to actually do now. Yeah, trying to like people. Some guys have come in and asked me, it's like, oh, have you got this thing? And I'm just like, I have no idea what it is.
Yeah. Tax? What?
Yeah. That's what our
tax.
Cash, no cash here, no cash.
But tax is something like that given to accountant and bookkeeper long years ago. I know what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking doing that myself.
Yeah, fuck
but even like again, a couple of years ago, we went through the idea of what's your business strategy. I was like, I don't know, bros, just fucking sell some shit.
Yeah.
Like we make cool stuff, we do some cool marketing. That's the strategy, right?
Yeah.
Do cool shit.
Yeah, but when you get obviously a team of people involved, and when you've got a far bigger customer database like we do now, that doesn't get you obviously to the next level.
You want to go to that next level.
We're trying to get to the next level because originally it was a strategy, bro. Just look at our Instagram.
Yeah,
we're fucking killing it. That was like the extent of my thought now. Because I was like, oh, cool, I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about that, I'm thinking about this. So it's always trying to obviously work out and find how do we get to that next step? What do we have to do to do this? What do we have to do to that?
Yeah.
That's where sort of trying to go with it now. And in terms of like even now, we've got a lot of things I don't think about. Like we've got a sale on, not a sale, it's a way for us doing like an online activation because we always do in-person activation.
Yeah.
So we got like a database, I think, of about 70,000 customers. So what we're doing for first week of July is we're just going, all right, cool. Instead of doing a sale, we're going to give 20,000 a year, $50. So
sick.
you give away $1 million online.
Yeah. Wow.
Do we have enough stock to do that? I don't know.
Should we register 20,000 emails?
But that's what, like those things that we literally came up with an idea in a 5-minute meeting, and I was like, cool, let's give away $1 million.
Wow.
We could give away. We could. I know we've got probably a couple mil there in stock.
Yeah.
So that could erode that completely, but there was no like check with the accountant. Let's check.
Yeah.
Let's just fucking try it. See what happens. It could work massively well. We could fucking get a few new customers, or we could, every cunt could just buy a pair of socks and we get it's part of the deal.
Yeah. I know we're nearly at an hour, so I don't want to stop you. The celebrity thing, you told me a ripper. The only reason I found out about it was because I was with Lulu and a few of your mates at a music event, and I think I saw a clip. Well, she told me, I don't know if my memory's gone, of somebody skateboarding in Madonna's house. Because I was like, I asked where you were because I hadn't met you yet. And you were in LA. At Madonna's house. And then a few weeks later, I saw Madonna break up with her boyfriend. I was like, was he not happy about skateboards in the house? Like, what's that? It was a ripper story. So if you wouldn't mind sharing.
I've got a cool network of friends. And one of my friends is a pro skater, a model, TV star. And I was just with him, and we caught up for a couple of days in LA, and we went to Costa Mesa, went out to the RUCA headquarters because he was a RUCA athlete at the time. And he was just like, hey, look at this DM. and I was like, that's pretty fucking cool, man. That's Madonna. And he was like, yeah. And then that was it. And then he was just like, hey, do you want to come to Madonna's house for dinner? And I was like, man, you just go. And he's like, nah, come with me. So me and one of the other boys who were there were like, fuck it, let's go.
Are you like the turtle from Entourage there?
There we go. Literally thinking nothing of it. And we just go back and have a few drinks. And he's like, oh, let's go. And I was like, oh, whatever. And I was like, wow, this is pretty fucking cool. We're in Calabasas, in nice little gated community.
Yeah.
Go in, and there's obviously like kids are there. It's like midnight. We're going for dinner at midnight, which is obviously a bit interesting.
Fucking.
And then she's got a chef and like a bartender, and they're like, oh, it's just a bar. Make whatever drinks you want. And then we have like a 3-course dinner, and then it was just like a very surreal and weird scenario.
Yeah,
and like I'm I was 32 at the age. I mean, at the time, I think my mate was 26 or something. No, my mate was like 27, 28, and she was like 65. And I was like, I was Googling how old she was.
Just sitting at the table, like.
Because I'm here and she's sitting next to me, and I was just like, wow. I was just trying to,
Were you like, were we born when like a version?
man, yeah, she's older than my mum.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking
Sucks, man.
And I was like, oh, fuck, surely you get in there.
So there were a few other things we'll leave off, but it escalated, and well, will you be going back to Madonna's at any point in the future, do you think?
I mean, I don't know. I don't blame her if I do. So.
And on talking about mums, you're having a kid soon. How's that? Now, I don't know if anyone can prepare for it. I'm not a parent. You are. Now,
No, nothing.
What have you discussed with your partner?
Yep.
What it's going to look like? What's going to happen?
I've had years of obviously working in business, having a team and working with staff, working with other businesses and brands, working with people.
Yeah.
So I'd like to think I'm going to have a pretty good sort of handle of it.
Yeah.
I do travel a lot with work. Like I was meant to be away the whole of August, but obviously that's when the child is coming.
Yeah.
So I'll be away in July and then potentially away for a little bit after the birth. It's just, again, it's just dealing with stress and mitigating risks. So I look at it very much like on a business standpoint. You know, cool, you got to make these decisions, and this is what's going to come from those decisions. Hopefully, and then obviously with the parenting, I'd imagine it's the same. You've got to be far more effective with my time management.
Classic. I'd imagine it's the same.
Nothing will prep you.
Yeah, correct.
You just it's like what you've done. You know what? You're going to do fine.
Yeah.
Just gotta learn.
Mate, it's like it's the Street X thing. Oh, I've gone off my phone. My camera's dead. But I think it's just learning. And,
As long as I can adapt to
on the
the
fly.
situation, that's the biggest thing. And I mean, I definitely don't think I'm ready to be parents.
No one is.
It's like the business. I still feel like it's day one.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to learn as much as possible. That's why I get so motivated, is because I'm like, fuck. Every time I go to work, I'm like, man, there's so much more to do.
Yeah.
Like even I just have, my mind is racing all the time about what we could do.
Yeah.
What can happen, what could be done. And it's like, there's so much more. We haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg. Like even if you look at the sports styled stuff, for example, the AFL, we've done a couple of cool different jackets that have sold like crazy. Sports stuff, we've done basically with 2 sick athletes, and then our own mainline stuff. Like there's so much fucking more to be done.
Yeah.
That's what I get so excited about. So
That's
for me,
because you've always keeping this busy, and the good thing that I like about you is that you've got a thought and you can action it.
correct.
Half the battle is I'll have a thought and we just don't have time to action it, or we don't have a team to action it.
That's the biggest thing. The biggest problem I've found, obviously, with having a bunch of staff, having a smaller team and outsourcing so much more stuff, is the ability, like my biggest thing is obviously being able to manage that time and go, cool, I've got this cool idea. Oh, the other 5 cool ideas, what happens to them?
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned over time. Like our real core team, like I'll be like, man, I've got this fucking sick idea. Okay, cool, man. The 5 sick ideas you sent me last week, bro.
Yeah.
Am I going to do them?
Mate,
So that's what I've dealt with a lot.
I empathise with you right now. I'm just looking at Delby. Like fucking.
But it's hard because it's like you can't, like, you obviously have to be selfish and push the business forward, but the internal team is so important trying to get them.
And they're all good ideas.
Yeah.
Same with Delby.
But
Like,
again,
they're all good ideas.
Okay, cool. You need to pick the ones.
Yes.
That work.
Yeah.
And you can't just expect, like in the past, what I've done to the negative is just going, cool, let's do all this.
Yeah.
Let's just get done.
Yeah.
And just assumed, hey guys, you're obviously going to do that.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey bro, I work this many hours a week.
Yeah.
And one of those things are getting done.
Yes.
And that's when I've been like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm always obviously go.
Yeah.
It's taking other people's considerations into your choices, which you have to do. If you want a team, or if you want to have people on board, you've got to go, hey, okay, instead of these 16 things I want to do, okay, these 2 are the best.
Yeah.
If you guys agree with that, let's work on that.
Yes. Yeah.
But even now, like I've been doing this for so long and I'm still grappling with that because I'm always like, this. Hey, man, you haven't even given us the details for this one you gave us a month ago, bro.
Yeah.
Like, can you...
You want to borrow some of my Dexies? It might help.
But it comes down to just getting I suppose the leadership or management qualities to be able to articulate that idea correctly, and then manage it time wise to know, okay, cool. Hey, bro, I want a full deck for this monster collaboration done by the end of the day tomorrow. Well, it's not realistic, and it's obviously very unfair because you can't just palm it off and then blame them.
100%.
You're the one who has to get blamed.
Yeah.
But it's just it's being able to communicate that and get that done is the hardest thing.
100%.
Well, I've got a good collab. We're going to do a comedy night. Street X cross Green Reapers cross Hard Yards cross Daniel Delby comedy night. We get 70,000 people. Sounds good.
We should definitely do something with the Reapers again.
Well, we're going to aim for Up and Joke 3.
Up and
Did you
Joke
come
3.
to any?
No, I was actually meant to go to the second one. I didn't go to either. I don't go out much.
Yeah,
But I was
yeah,
meant-
well,
I think Whitey always wears Street X now as well.
I was meant to go because which one was the Astor Theatre? Were they both there?
The Regal was the first one. And
Yeah,
Varsity was the
and then
second one.
Varsity,
Yeah.
the-
The Regal was like loose. Man.
Yeah.
Like real briefly, all you got to know is I get nude.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
Really?
If you
A
got
lot.
Street X cock socks,
Yeah.
that might be a very
Shit,
We've
man.
done a lot of speedos, mate. We've done a lot of speedos.
The last day of Yellow got a good send off anyway.
Yeah. We'll want to finish by showing you the ghost story.
Yeah.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Just
How
quick,
long have
just
you
the
got? It's
video?
been going for about an hour and 10
Oh,
minutes.
no, all good.
Yeah, keep
Fine.
going.
I'll turn on my camera first. So you guys keep chatting
cool.
away.
So what we've started to do is just get guests with ghost stories.
Yep.
And glitches in the Matrix. And fuck, man, we've got like 1,000 people sending them in. So we're going to record a bunch. But this one.
What? So it's just like people where your followers have gone, oh, this is what happened type thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I've got like my own thing that happened to me when I was like, 16. It was nuts. I saw, and the listeners have already heard it, but you haven't. It was 4 o'clock in the afternoon and went to my friend's house and the gardener and the kid walked in and I was like, what the fuck? Gardener's walking in the house with a kid? That's hell random. Like, why didn't he knock? So when they left, I said to my friend, I was like, how come you let the gardener and his kid walk in your house? She goes, what are you talking about? I said, the gardener just walked in. She goes, that's my dad. I go, what about the kid with him? It's like, there's no one here except for me, you and dad. I'm like, no, there's a fucking kid following your dad. And I looked down at a photo. I was like, oh, that's the kid. She goes, nah. I was like, yeah, that was a brother who died a year before in a car crash. So I was like, I've just seen him following your dad at 4 in the afternoon. I didn't do drugs. I didn't drink. I was like,
Sure, the
sober as
dad's
fuck.
not a pedo or something.
Yeah, just a trafficker.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, mate, I've watched too many trafficking. Mate, they faked the death and now he's in fucking Chile.
Yeah. So I was like,
Solid.
oh, that's weird. And we started telling a few stories. And someone sent us this image.
Did I send you the? Oh, there it is. Okay, so here's the image.
I try to fight the belief that any of this is real.
So weird, that little hand in the face. And
Oh, yeah, that's pretty. Where's that?
Okay, so I'll read this.
Mexico.
Mexico. So a listener in Mexico messaged us that, and then he said tomorrow I'll tell you the story.
Where's that? Is that?
That's
That's
a
on a Zoom, right?
That's
Something?
So he's taken a photo of a photo there. So
Yeah.
but here, okay.
So what's the story behind it?
I'll find the story. Delby, maybe you read it because you're better at reading, but I'll find
this
them.
is a blind read. Motherfucker blind. While he's searching for it. So in the next few weeks, what do you got planned? You said you're going to Turkey?
Yeah, we're shooting. Obviously, we got the stuff, like I said, with Craig Jones we work with for CJI for their event. We've done a bunch of merch.
Yep.
And then we've got a big collaboration with B-Team, which is his gym that was planned well in advance. So we've got a big collection start of August. And then mid-August, then obviously there's UFC Perth. We've got a bunch of, we're potentially working with one of the athletes from there.
Killer.
So
does that mean you get good seats?
No, well, I'm sure that will, hopefully that will come, but it's
Yeah.
more so just arranging that. Like, obviously that's just been announced. Obviously it was meant to be Della, but Della's injured.
Yeah. And is that August? That's when your baby's due?
Yeah, correct. That's why I was meant to be away in Vegas for this event because we're working with the merch with CJI. So for CJI, and in the B team, we're going to be shooting the collection with Craig in either Turkey or the US. So I'll just go over there.
That's so cool. You can
just being able to go and that's why being able to move quickly.
Yeah.
Cool.
Where's your favourite place you've travelled so
I
far?
love the US. I love the US though. The US. I mean, anywhere you go where you know people, it's good.
Yeah.
Because anywhere like
It's the people, not the place, really.
if you're in LA and you know the right people, it's great. If it don't, it sucks. Like if
Yeah.
you go to Perth and didn't know anyone, it would suck.
Yeah, for
what are you gonna
sure.
do? Fucking go to the Bell Tower and look
Yeah,
at that?
exactly.
Like,
Exactly right.
Anywhere you go internationally, as long as you know
Yeah.
people there and they can show you. Like we obviously used to produce in India, so I've been to India a number of times, been to China.
Yeah, right.
That's sick.
Yeah, been everywhere. I've been in a lot of places.
Yeah. Maybe Trump can be your next collab.
Mate, the one Trump thing I have is when Jack fought in Miami against Gilbert Burns.
Yeah.
Trump was obviously there, and I
Yeah.
know it's a red state. I've never heard the fucking stadium like this. Cunt sitting next to me all night is barely celebrating.
Yeah.
And then Trump walks out, and the cunt just about fucking chucked his phone in the air and he's going fucking berserk.
I fucking love him, eh?
He walks out with the Kid Rock song on. It's like the WWE. That's
awesome.
mate, the whole stadium was standing.
It's fucking incredible.
And even like it would happen right before Jack walked out, and then Jack and obviously his cornerman I know were there, and they were like, man, that's this 50 fucking person entourage cunts with a machine gun.
Wow.
And then every fighter after they win goes and looks at him, and he's just like,
So great.
yeah.
So great, you did so well.
So well, you're the greatest.
All right, so here's the story that's connected to that photo that we put up. So he was in Mexico. Yep. It's a pretty creepy photo. But so 10 years ago, I was living in Canada because of ice hockey. My girlfriend, who's now my wife, stayed in Mexico City. Oh, stayed in Mexico City. Okay, this makes more sense. That's why it was a screenshot of what.
Yep.
Oh, that's how they sleep? They sleep like on Zoom together. That
weird.
makes sense why it looks like. Ugh. Okay. Anyway, stayed in Mexico City. We used to fall asleep watching movies together while we were on Skype, and you could share the screen at any time.
Kind of cute, but also like yuck.
One night I woke up around 2 to 3 a.m. and saw her sleeping, but there was something weird. She is facing the window opposite the side of a computer, and I could see a hand over the side of her back with a baby face that looked like had small horns. I freaked the fuck out, woke up my teammate who lived in the same house, got him to come have a look. He also freaked out. We called her trying to wake her up, but we weren't able to.
Oh my God.
We took a picture and closed that shit up. The next day, I wasn't sure if I should tell her or not, didn't want to freak her out. So she called me and she said she had this long scratch along her back.
Oh my God.
It was like a cat scratch, pretty long, and I decided to tell her how. She showed her mum, freaked out. Yes, in Mexico it's pretty normal. Took her to a witch and had a bunch load of rituals done and said there was a very heavy energy. Eventually she moved out of the house and there's still no explanation to the photos.
All right, I've already solved it.
Yep.
She was sleeping with another guy. They've had some rough sex, scratched her down the back, and she's just got him to wear a fucking mask and look at the camera so she could blame witchcraft.
Problem solved.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
All right.
They're on Skype together. Like it's a continuous.
Yeah,
like
maybe he's
ongoing.
a cuck and she just like...
Imagine if it was that simple.
Yeah.
But it's a boy. It's a little boy.
Oh,
Could be
wow.
in the face.
Could be a mask. Fucking burglar's got in there, just going, how's it going, mate? Put his little mask on.
I think like I look at that and go, well, how it happened with reflection and anything could have happened.
Yeah.
It could have been another.
Watch Paranormal Activity a few many times.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
100%. So,
All right, that's a pretty cool one. But we'll finish on that. Do you want to plug anything?
anything
You
you
got
wanna
new
plug?
collections coming out?
heard there's a brand you want to plug.
Yeah.
Whatever, man.
Yep.
I'm not one to plug. I suppose follow us on Instagram, and if you like it, follow it. If you don't, fuck off.
Fuck
And
yeah.
your personal
It's what
one is Gucci Smoothie. So there's
Why
some
Gucci
pretty-
Smoothie? What's the go with that?
When I first moved out of home, I lived in this hell shit house in Northbridge. It was like a literal crack den type of a fucking thing. And we had no kitchen. And then one of my mates bought us a smoothie.
A crack den without a kitchen.
Yeah, that's pretty rare. Yeah.
And I just used this smoothie heaps, and then it was the Gucci level of smoothies.
Ah.
And that was as simple as that, mate.
Fuck.
And it's just never gone.
We've got two origin stories,
Yeah.
Straight X and Gucci Smoothie. I love it.
Nice.